And sadly, the people who end up crashing and giving up are the people who just let life happen. So you can be somebody who never gives up, but you never actually learn anything from your fault. I know not giving up means, to be persistent. However, I started kind of playing around with the words resilience and persistence. I'm like, okay, what's the difference? The English language is very interesting. You can have two words that sound the same, but they are completely different. And language in general is interesting because maybe persistence and resilience might be one word in Yoruba or one word in Swahili, but in English, there are two different things. And so, and I wanted to kind of share what I learned this week, if that's okay, about persistence. What's the difference? It's all just not giving up and keep going, having a tough skin. And I realized they actually mean two different things. So the dictionary meaning resilience is the ability to mentally, emotionally, or physically adapt and recover from stress or any sort of misfortune or adversity. So you are able to mentally, emotionally, physically adapt and recover from stress. That is resilience. And what is persistence? So someone who is persistent continues doing something or tries to do something. Okay, I'll give it my own definition. To be persistent is to just simply never giving up, right? So that's what that means, right? Resilience has a little bit of a different meaning than giving up. You can be resilient, and yes, you are not giving up, but there's a difference between persistence and resilience. And that difference is this, that yes, you are not giving up. However, you are adapting and transforming as you continue to grow. I'll give you a visual example. So there are different ways that people grow, right? So when you look at something called exponential growth, I'm sure you guys know what exponential growth is. It's where you grow exponentially like that, right? And then you've got just gradual growth, which is just slow, but you are still growing, right? So if you want exponential growth in your life, you need to learn the secret of resilience. Because many people are persistent, they don't give up, but yes, they are growing. However, the growth is very slow. You are still growing, right? However, the growth is very slow. Somebody who's resilient, they are learning at every single point of adversity. Whenever let's say something happens to you, you are trying to build something, and then something happens to you, and then you fall, right? And then you don't give up, you get up again, right? The difference between somebody who's going to grow exponentially or somebody who's going to grow gradually is what they have learned when they fail. Does that make sense? So you can be somebody who never gives up, but you never actually learn anything from your fall, right? You are simply just persistent, right? You are simply you just never give up. And I know Nigeria or anywhere in Africa, we know people, most Africans are very persistent people, right? We in general, we just never give up, especially because we live in a country where, faith is a very big thing, right? So, you're just told to don't give up on God, continue to fight the good fight of faith, and those are the environments that we live in. However, it creates people who are persistent, but their growth is very slow. The people who grow quickly, and you're just like, how did this person just almost, it looks like overnight, they have just gone to level after level after level. It is the person at the point of falling. They have actually grasped what the lesson is, and not just learned what the lesson is, they have adapted, right? They have molded themselves, they have reshaped themselves, and then after getting the lesson from what they needed to learn, they then get up and continue, right? So what happens there is that you are adapting, you are building muscle, so that the growth just becomes exponential. So I wish I had like a whiteboard to show you something that I've learned that's really, really important when it comes to resilience. And that is, I learned this from my pastor when I was younger. He was showing a diagram of spiritual growth and the way it happens, right? So there is the point where everything is going well, you are reading your Bible, and then something happens in life, right? And then you fall, right? Now, people who just let life happen will just let the fall just happen without doing anything about it, right? So if you started at, I'm going to try to explain it without a visual. So if you start, let's say, at level 1, and then you reach level 2, and then something happens in your life that discourages you, something happens in life that pulls you down, and then you fall. Just let life happen. The adversity happens, they fall, and they let themselves just fall. And they go back to level 1, right? And then at some point, maybe because it was a better day that day, maybe they have gotten over it, or whatever, and they try to go back up again. They go to level 2.2, right? And then life happens again, and then they fall down. And then the same thing happens, level 2.3, the same thing. You get what I mean? So like there's this, they are growing. However, it's growth where you allow life to just simply happen. And by chance, things get better naturally, and then you go back up again. And the issue with that is you are not in control of your growth. I don't know if that makes sense. You are letting life be in control of your growth. And sadly, the people who end up crashing and giving up are the people who just let life happen, and they just gradually just kept going down, level -1, level -2, and they just kept going down, right? So somebody who's resilient, they are quick to learn from the fall. That's a point 1 right there for you. People who are resilient, they are quick to learn from the fall. Like the speed in which you rise is really, really important. And it's not about rising and not even like just shaking it off quickly. It's not about shaking it off. It's about sitting in it and learning what just happened. Why did it happen? Right? So the difference now is you go level 1, you go to level 2, adversity happens, and then the moment you start falling, you realize that you are falling, and then you quickly start learning. And then what tends to happen is that now the curve bends way before you go back to level 1, and then you go back up again, and then life happens again. Let me tell you this. You will never ever be able to live your life without adversity. regardless of where you are in life, what level you are in life, whether you are at level 1 or whether you are level 100, adversity is just something that always happens. And you can I've experienced it in my own life where I would say maybe I managed to get up to like level 40 and then I crashed all the way down to level 1. That has happened in my own life. Because if you let life just happen to you, you are capable of falling down from level 40 all the way to level 1. So we need to be careful with what we do with our crisis. We need to be careful with what we do with the obstacles that come our way, with the things that pull us down in life. And I just wanted to encourage you. Maybe you are going through a stage in your life where you were at a certain place and you are now starting to fall down. Let me encourage you. Learn from what just happened and rise again and get up again. Because this is the difference between people who teach persistence and resilience. People who teach persistence, they say, hey, when you fall down, get up again, right? But there's a step that they miss. Because resilience is when you fall down, what did you learn? Get up again, right? So when you teach people resilience, man, there is a level of speed of growth that happens in your life. So I want to encourage you, whatever obstacle you may be going through right now, think about what you need to learn from what just happened, right? Crisis will never stop happening. Crisis will never stop. So be able to be resilient, which means learn from what just happened, adapt. Sometimes you just change strategy. That's part of resilience. You change strategy, you adapt, you learn, and then you rise up. You get up again and continue moving forward. I want to tell you to never give up. Be resilient. And I'm telling you, amazing things are going to happen in your life. Like, resilience is the thing that, regardless of how inconsistent your life is, if you become consistent in crisis happens, you learn from it, you rise up. Crisis happens, you learn from it, you rise up. Crisis happens, you learn from it, you rise up. If you can do that, if you forget about consistency, forget about whether you struggle with being consistent or not. If you can be consistent just in that one thing, always learning from your crisis, you are going to go places. You're going to rise to level after level after level. So I want to build a team that is resilient. All right. I hope you now kind of understand what I mean when I say resilient. I want to build a team that is resilient. You get to an obstacle in your work and you learn from it, and then you get up again. Right? If we can do that, and we become that kind of culture, I am telling you, amazing things are going to happen. Persistence is not enough.